Old cities were often impressively well built, especially considering the limited materials, tools, and techniques available at the time. In many cases, they were designed for durability and efficient use of space. But how do they compare to the strengths of modern cities? Let's explore some key aspects. 1. Durability and quality of materials. Old cities. Ancient builders often used materials like stone, brick, and marble, which have allowed many historical buildings to stand the test of time. Imagine structures like the Roman aqueducts, Egyptian pyramids, or Greek temples. They were built to last, and their advanced engineering has kept them with us for centuries. For these builders, longevity wasn't just a goal, it was essential. 2. City planning and walkability. Old cities. Think of historic European cities, compact and pedestrian-friendly. Their layout made it possible to live, work, and socialize all within walking distance. In these cities, you could go from home to market to plaza without ever needing a horse or carriage. This design created a close-knit community, where spaces were truly shared. Modern cities. Today, modern cities are built around roads and cars, which can make them more spread out. You'll find zoning practices that divide residential, commercial, and industrial areas, which can make cities feel less cohesive and walkable. But modern urban planning has introduced green spaces, skyscrapers, and more advanced zoning, creating areas of convenience within the sprawling city. 3. Adaptability and sustainability. Old cities. Buildings in ancient cities often had thick walls and natural ventilation, perfectly suited to their climates and surroundings. However, they weren't built to handle today's large populations, advanced infrastructure, or even the expectations we have for comfort and convenience. Modern cities. Today's cities have complex infrastructure to support huge populations. They have systems for electricity, water, sewage, and internet, things we take for granted but were unimaginable in ancient times. And with sustainable building technologies like green roofs and solar panels, modern cities are striving to be more environmentally friendly. 4. Architectural beauty and craftsmanship. Old cities. The architecture of old cities is truly something special. Structures were often highly crafted, with intricate details on buildings, fountains, and monuments. When we look at ancient temples, cathedrals, or palaces, it's clear that artistry was at the heart of their design. Builders and artisans poured time and skill into every detail, creating cities that are still celebrated for their beauty today. Modern cities. Modern architecture is often more minimalist, using glass, steel, and concrete for efficiency and function. While some argue it lacks the ornate details of ancient structures, others see modern skyscrapers as works of art in themselves, pushing engineering boundaries to create stunning skylines. 5. Defensive planning and fortifications. Old cities. Many ancient cities had walls, gates, and moats, built at a time when defense was a constant concern. These defensive elements were essential to protect against invaders, and were integral to a city's layout. The city walls were more than just barriers. They shaped the identity and the structure of life inside the city. Modern cities. Modern cities don't require these kinds of defenses. Instead, they focus on open layouts, with spaces designed for transportation, emergency services, and accessibility. In today's cities, security means something very different than it did in the past. 6. Social and community-oriented design. Old cities. Community gathering spaces were central to the layout of old cities. Places like plazas, forums, and marketplaces encouraged people to come together for trade, conversation, and celebrations. Streets were narrow, homes were close together, and a strong sense of neighborhood identity naturally developed. Modern cities. Today, urban sprawl can sometimes isolate people, especially in suburban developments. But modern cities are working to bring back that sense of community with urban parks, pedestrian zones, and revitalized downtowns, creating areas where people can gather and connect. 7. Integration with natural landscape. Old cities. Ancient cities were often designed to fit seamlessly with the natural landscape. Cities near rivers used waterways for transport and trade. Mountainous cities followed the terrain, offering natural beauty and sometimes natural defenses. Nature and architecture were interconnected. Modern cities have reshaped the landscape in dramatic ways. Skyscrapers and man-made islands create whole new cityscapes. And now, there's a growing movement to integrate more green spaces and natural elements, with cities investing in parks, rooftop gardens, and riverside developments. 8. Scale and density. Old cities. Cities of the past were generally smaller, limited by the building techniques of the time. They were densely packed, with mixed-use neighborhoods where everything was close by. You could find markets, workplaces, and homes all within the same area, making life convenient and communal. Modern cities. Thanks to skyscrapers and transportation infrastructure, modern cities can cover vast areas and accommodate huge populations. While this increases comfort for residents, it often requires long commutes and a reliance on cars. 9. Health and sanitation. Old cities. In ancient cities, disease outbreaks were a constant challenge, with only basic sanitation available. However, cities like those in the Roman Empire did develop advanced aqueducts and sewage systems, which improved health for some communities. Modern cities. Today's cities have advanced water treatment, waste management, and public health regulations that improve our quality of life. The infrastructure for health services and pollution control has become fundamental to city living. 10. Building techniques and earthquake resistance. Old cities. Ancient builders had some brilliant techniques to stabilize structures, but they were often limited when it came to earthquake resistance. Cultures like the Inca used innovative stone-fitting techniques to build quake-resistant structures. Modern cities. Modern engineering has transformed our cities' resilience. With reinforced concrete, steel, and seismic dampers, today's skyscrapers and buildings can absorb shocks and withstand earthquakes. 11. Transportation systems. Old cities. Early cities were designed for walking, horseback, or boats. Many were built near ports or rivers, relying on waterways for long-distance transport. Modern cities. Today, cities rely on complex transportation networks, including cars, subways, and airports. While car reliance has led to traffic and pollution, many urban planners are working to promote mass transit and create pedestrian-friendly spaces. 12. Environmental impact and sustainability. Old cities. Early cities were often more sustainable out of necessity, using local materials and adapting to local climates. But limited technology sometimes led to overuse of resources like wood and water. Modern cities. Modern cities have seen the environmental impact of urbanization, but are also leading in sustainability initiatives. Green buildings, renewable energy, and urban agriculture are part of today's cities, as they aim to reduce their environmental footprint. 13. Cultural identity and preservation. Old cities. Historic cities are rich in cultural heritage, with architecture, art, and monuments reflecting the values and achievements of past civilizations. Preserving these structures keeps history alive for future generations. Modern cities. While modernization sometimes comes at the cost of heritage, cities today are increasingly blending historical preservation with modern design, offering a sense of continuity and attracting tourism. 14. Safety and security. Old cities. In ancient times, cities were fortified with walls and towers. This layout restricted access and made it easier to defend. Modern cities. Today's cities emphasize open access, with new concepts of safety, like emergency services and surveillance systems. Codes for road safety, fire protection, and building standards have replaced the need for physical barriers. 15. Innovation and technology hubs. Old cities. Some ancient cities were centers of learning and trade, fostering progress in science and philosophy. Their influence shaped civilization. Modern cities. Modern cities, like Tokyo and Silicon Valley, are global tech hubs, driving advancements in AI, biotech, and digital innovation. Contemporary architecture reflects a high-tech focus, supporting knowledge and creativity. In summary, while ancient cities focused on community, durability, and beauty, modern cities emphasize scale, technology, and convenience. But both have inspired today's urban planners to design cities that are more livable, sustainable, and culturally vibrant than ever before.